I'm a happy camper, but if it starts to rain, that happiness slowly fades away. What's up guys, Dan here, Coalcracker. So rain, it can absolutely ruin an outdoor trip, and it's a question that I get asked all the time. It's like, how do I make fire in wet weather? And there's a lot of different ways that I can answer that. The first way I can answer that is say, well, listen, don't get caught in a rainstorm. Don't try to make a fire during a rainstorm. Make it before the rainstorm and you will be good. But that just made some people's heads explode, because what if you book this trip, or you scheduled this trip to go out with all your friends camping for a week months ago, and here comes the week now and we're gonna head out and it just rain in the forecast. We gotta have those campfires, right? We gotta boil our water, cook our food, warm up if it's the winter time. So how do we do that? Well, today what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna share 3 tips with you. That's 6. 3 tips with you to making fire in wet weather. And then you could take those tips, add them to your outdoor toolbox, and you, my friends, next time are caught in a rainstorm, you won't have any problems. Easy breezy. So tip number 1 for wet weather fire making is go big and go small. Both. You got to go big and you got to go small. So what does that mean? So we're assuming everything is already damp and wet in the environment that you're going to be operating in. So first we're going to say get some small material. Now this goes for making a campfire pretty much year-round in any weather condition, but it's very, very important in wet weather, and I'm going to explain why. We first want to pick very small material. The smaller, the better. As you can see, some of this stuff that I'm holding, it might not even be showing up on camera because it's so small and so thin. Even down in here, this is like the size of pencil lead. Very, very important that we get this stuff, because if we get stuff this size, it's a lot harder for our initial fire lay to dry this out compared to small material. So what I want you to think about is when you throw all that laundry into your dryer. Usually those towels, when you pull them out, might still be damp, but all your socks and underwear are dry. It's the same thing happening here with our campfire. Once we get our initial fire lay started and our initial flame source is burning, small material is going to dry out a lot faster, and it's going to be able to combust and actually add to that flame source compared to larger material, just due to overall surface area of each individual piece. So we always want to make sure we're collecting very, very small material. Now the big component is that we want to collect a big amount of this. We want to collect as much of this as we can. If I can have a huge armful like this, all the better. So always go small and big. Now tip number 2 is a silly one. It is make it stop raining. How are we going to make it stop raining? Well, we are going to prepare ahead of time. We're going to carry some type of emergency shelter system with us. Now you don't have to carry our famous T60 emergency shelter, but maybe a tarp or a poncho is going to work really well. So it's important that when we set up our shelter, it's fast and efficient, like I already said. Now you can use a lot of different things for that. You can use a tarp setup like this, just like this, because now what we can do is go underneath our shelter component, process our materials, and get a good game plan in place. Now the final part of hot tip of making it stop rain, not only setting up some type of sheltering system, but also making your sticks dry. So how are you going to do that? Well, when you grab sticks that are already in damp environments, the outside is going to be wet, but we can crack, we can split with a knife, baton fashion, or chop with an axe, and magically open those things up and find dry wood on the inside. So think of the outside as like wet clothing, and inside is nice and dry. So being able to stay in our shelter and process dry material is going to be huge. We don't want this stuff to get wet, and if we can't find a lot of small stuff, we can take this and continuously process this down to shavings and feathers and small sticks and create our own mini fire lay on our own with our own dry material. And then the last component is to build a good base. It's very important whenever you're going to recreate outdoors that you have a plethora of fire starting materials. Not only initial flame sources, you want to have a multitude of those. So some of that stuff might include something like a ferrocerium rod, matches, even a lighter. All of these things are going to give us a way to create that initial flame source. But not only do we want this, we also want to make sure that we're always carrying emergency style fire starters. I did a lot of videos on different styles over the years of these. And then you can carry things like pieces of fat wood, which come from pine trees, and they are infused with pine resin, super flammable. Or in my case, often I carry just a small bag with stuff like birch bark, because this stuff burns great and is very readily available in my area. So I have a plethora of different things that initial flame source can be lit with, and then I have a good strong base. Having a good strong base on the fire is going to allow you ample time to dry out those small sticks you collected, the small sticks you processed under your shelter, and then, my friends, you are going to have a proper wet weather fire complete. And just like that, 3 tips that I truly believe are the key to wet weather fire starting. So you're going to want to give these ones a shot. Next rainy day, pack up your gear, go out and experiment. It's always good to have those tools in the toolbox for when you absolutely need them. So if you like this video, hit like and subscribe down below. You can also check us out at Coalcracker, Bushcraft.com for all our classes, our gear, and our blog. And until the next video, stay in the woods.